have that instinct automatically? Because remember, some of this stuff is genetic. They either have it or they don't, right? This is what it's all about, people. Attack the boy! He must know that I'm in the dog fight with him. I'm next to him side by side. We have a bond that's unbreakable. Tell me you don't like that intro.
Hey, nah, look. See, that's the kind of fight I want when it comes to these dogs, man. That's the kind of drive that I need when it comes to these dogs. Straight up.
Listen, we're gonna get into all that, man. We're gonna get into all that. Hey, people, thanks for joining in. They coming in, Ashton. They coming in, Ashton. We're gonna be reading comments and shit and questions. People, we don't talk about race. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about religion. We talk about dogs. Dogs in the full circle of humans and dogs.
Oh, it looks like we live on Facebook too. There we go.
Hallelujah.
Live on Facebook and Instagram.
So the dummy page gonna be live today, baby.
Oh man.
Can't go wrong. Sugar free, baby.
What is that?
Canada Dry, ginger ale.
Oh, you just like my pops, dude. Talking about some Canada Dry.
Dude, I'm an old nigga, man. Come on now. I'm 54 this year, man. It's like, I got to get my prostates removed and shit now. So damn.
Hey, you look good. You look good for 54. I'll say that.
Hey man, you know what it is though? I don't fuck with alcohol. Alcohol actually it accelerates the aging process. Think about all the people who are your age and they're still drinking. Mm-hmm. They look old as shit, man.
Yeah, they do. They do.
But yeah, people, hey, thanks for tuning in. I know I've been out of pocket for about a week and a half. I've been a little down and out. Letting you guys know a little secret here. A brother ended up having cancer. I got prostate cancer, but we caught it early. It's treatable.
That's a blessing right there.
And I can still get it up after the fact. So I told my doc, I was like, yo, man, I ain't putting no pump. You know how you have them old school shoes, you put the little pumps like, I said, yeah. Doc, I don't want that. He said, well, out of the 16 samples we pulled, only one came back cancerous and it's treatable. So guys, I tell you, if you're 45 years of older, get your PSA levels checked. All you got to do is ask for your doctor to do the blood work and you'll know where you at. At least you'll know where you're at for that year.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm with Ashton Edwards.
Yes, sir.
30-pound kennels. He's out of Indiana. Now, you ain't near Gary, right? Are you?
I'm from Gary.
He's from Gary. So you've been to Michael Jackson's house?
Everybody has.
Okay. You went with your parents. I want to make sure you were there with your parents because if you was there, I'm just messing with you.
This dude funny.
Listen, people, I asked Ashton, I said, how far are you from French Lick? He said, what the fuck is that? I said, dude, that's Larry Bird's town, man. Come on, man.
Hey, look, I'm gonna tell you something. When it comes to the Gary, Indiana portion of Indiana, we kind of identify with Chicago schools and Chicago basketball. So all we care about is Michael Jordan. We didn't resonate with Larry Bird out there.
My boy Waylon, aka name is Cooley. Cooley is from Gary, Indiana. So I went to Jackson State with him. Shout out to Cooley. Cooley videos, Cooley pics. He's a good photographer. He can take a picture of you when you get married. If you're in prison, he'll come to prison, take a picture with you and your wife so he can consummate your shit. Anyway, shout out. Anyway, people, me and Ashton got some things in common. Not only that we're black, but we got some other things in common.
Yeah.
We got dogs in common. We got Dobies in common. But absolutely. Ashton is, I would consider, an expert of the one type of breed that I've been curious about. And is it the extreme pocket bullies or pocket American bullies, right?
Pocket American bullies, yes, sir.
Now, I'm not going to shit you when I say this. When I saw the pictures of that boy you had, I could have sworn I thought it was a human man's head on this dog, man. Who is that boy, first of all? I'm going to show people these pictures here, but tell me about what got you into the extreme pocket bullies. And what is the difference between bullies and pocket bullies?
So I'll start with that latter question. There truly is no difference between American bullies and pocket bullies except for height. Per the standard, they are supposed to have the same temperament, the same body structure, just differ in height. A pocket, I believe, is for males 14 to 16 inches and females 13 to 16 inches, whereas a standard would be 17 to 20. So
Hmm.
still shorter dogs compared to like a Doberman or a Borbal or a Cane Corso, but taller in that aspect.
Now, tell us how long have you been breeding, and tell me the makeup of your kennel, like what type of dogs you have.
I've been actively breeding since 2017. Um, Believe it or not, I like to keep a very low number of dogs on hand because I still have a life I have to live. I still have children. I still have hobbies outside of dogs. I've seen a couple friends of mine get lost in the sauce by having 15, 20, 30 dogs on their property and they can't go nowhere because they can't find somebody to take care of them. So typically here, I've had no more than 7 dogs at one time. Uh, the only studs that stay here are studs that work. So right now, the only males that are at my residence are my retired stud, Champion Brim. He's probably going to go down as having that's Junior right there. That's Brim's
Hmm.
son. So he's here, Brim Junior, and then my male Doberman, who he's a baby, so we're gonna have to get him to start working soon after he gets health tested and all that.
Where'd you get the Dobie from?
I
Is that
imported
him
all
right
my
there?
dogs. Yeah, that's him right there, Big General.
Big
I imported
General.
him from Belarus.
I know what that's at. I know who that
Yeah,
is.
I imported him. I needed something that had that size, but still, kind of had that oomph. Now, believe it or not, my female got a little more. She got a little more bite than him. She tears her stuff up,
Hmm.
and I ended up getting her from Bulgaria.
Bulgaria. You know, they still got that moratorium going on. If you get a dog from Russia, AKC is putting a hold on opening up registry for them. Hopefully, with this ceasefire shit, whatever the hell that means. Like, you know what? Ceasefire. Well, we're gonna stop killing your ass in 8 days. And they putting dates on it. Ceasefire in 5 days. Anyway, AKC has put a moratorium. I don't know if you're aware of that, but AKC has put a moratorium on dogs being AKC registrable through their club. But hopefully that'll end because there are some good dogs that come from Russia, but more importantly from Eastern Europe. My question is like I was talking to my guy over to Raul at QBN Kennels, and he
Yeah, I
deals
know
with
Raul.
he deals with bullies, but he don't deal with the pocket bullies, right? He deals with because there's so many different type of bullies. You got XL bullies, you got pocket bullies, and you got American bullies. I don't know the different ones. I'm learning, but my question is like, what at the shows when people have these bully shows, right? What are they looking for, which makes a superior bully type? A type that they would like to put in their camp. What are you looking for when you're getting a bully?
So when you looking at a bully show in the confirmation show ring, you want to make sure that everything per the standard is correct. The tail set is right. It has the right amount of mass. The bite is clean. The stop is at 90 degrees. No kinks in the tail. No splayed feet. No barrel chest. You just want to make sure that it's a well-rounded dog that can still function. Because the thing is, a lot of people lose sight of functionability of the dogs when they just focus on trying to make the dogs as big as they can. And the show ring really exposes a lot of that when you have to put the dog in there and it has to actually perform.
So now I'm learning new terms in this bully world. It's called Easty Westy. That's in regards to you know what I'm talking about, right? Easty Westy.
Absolutely.
That's where the two front legs are going right now. But I noticed the pocket bullies, they have more of a bow like this, right?
So that's
It,
that's due to a short upper arm.
right. So is that acceptable, or are you guys trying to breed out of that? Or I mean, to me, it seems like the shorter the arm, the more they're gonna bow anyway, right?
So the goal really is to create a dog with the correct shoulder lay. Um, But when you get to breeding these dogs and you start catering to what the community wants, a lot of people actually prefer a little bit of overload in the shoulder, which comes from a short upper arm. Now, me personally, I do like the look of a little moderate overload in the shoulder. I don't want the dogs to be looking like this, like a circle. I'd
Yeah.
rather it be kind of straight down from the shoulders, but just a little bit wider presentation. So that's kind of what I go for. I like big, massive dogs. Like you got pictured. That's a Brim son produced by my boy Beto Oldgin, and that's what we provide here at 30B Kennels, man. That's the type of dogs that we're producing on the daily, and I'm helping other yards produce it by letting them use my stud. I'm telling Bourbon one of the hottest studs in the bully game, bar none.
Bar,
Bar
bar
none. Look,
none.
I kid you not. If you look in the history books, him and his half brother Golden Shower, they're the two top
Now, which one
producing
is
American
Brim? Let me
bullies.
let me see here. Which one is Brim? Because I want people to see this dog.
If you
Hold
go
on.
to the top of my page, I believe it's the third pinned post at the top. Yeah, the third pinned post
Right
right there.
here?
Yes, sir. It's a video.
That's him.
Yes, sir.
Wow, look at that. And you keeping the tail too.
Yeah, we keep tails. So that's another big difference between American bullies and, let's just say, exotic bullies. With the exotics, it's acceptable for them to not have a tail, right? With us, we prefer a full tail. We prefer no knots, no kinks, no short tails. We prefer a full tail that reaches all the way down to the top of the hock.
Now, let me ask you this: Are they able to, because of the shortness of their legs, are they able to breed naturally, or do you guys just do the TCI or the AI instead?
If there's a will, there's a way, man. I mean, you know what it's like when you're young and in that mode. It's definitely possible for them to breed naturally, but due to the nature of these dogs and just how short they are, it's safer to do a TCI or a surgical, and it creates a a better opportunity for success. And with the popularity of this breed and so many people like Brim, for example, there is a point in time during the height of his career, he was breeding 3 to 4 times a week. So I'm not allowing him to continuously lock and tie with these random females, because you could ask someone, do you got a brucellosis test on your female? They could tell you,
I'm like,
yeah, but
huh?
they could
What
be
is
lying.
that?
It's actually kind of scary how many people don't know um, what brucellosis is and how it can really destroy your yard. Um, but yeah, my dogs are fully functional, man. They can breed if they want to. I just don't let them. I'd rather less stress on the female, less stress on the male. Collect them. You've collected your
Yeah,
studs. It takes maybe 45 seconds to get it
yeah.
out of them, and then fresh kill it, ship it off. It's
I
all
put
good
those
right
put
there.
those extenders in there and call it a day.
Absolutely. Whether you're using the Connie Plus or you're using the Dr. Kenny extender, we gonna get it to you. We gonna get
Yeah,
it to you. It's gonna
yeah,
be
yeah.
good.
So yeah, I try not to do live covers anymore anyway, man, because with these because I've bred, let me see, like Casanova bred probably almost like 200 or 300 times, right? Brody 300-400 times, Alonzo 400-500 times. And what I do is like I do TCI or AI, however you want to do it, because I've had UTIs on my dogs, urinary tract infections, and it's made those motherfuckers sterile. And I had to go through the whole medication process and antibiotic process. And, it's, you go to these vets to get it extracted and get it shipped and everything. And they're like, hey, he ain't got no sperm. I'm like, how the fuck is that?
And look, and it's embarrassing because you on the line because that person, the only reason you at the vet today is because they need it tomorrow,
That's right.
and
That's
they and
right.
they need it in less than 24 hours,
Yeah.
and they don't have a big window like people think. You
No.
only got a couple days to breed them, and so really keeping your stud healthy is a job within itself. And it's your responsibility as a stud owner to keep them healthy, keep them on the best quality food, lots of hydration. and really sheltering them from the outside world. You know, a lot of people asked me during the pandemic why I had kind of took a step back from going to the American Bully shows,
Yeah.
and I just kept it honest. I said, y'all be bringing some sick dogs up in here, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I I have a service to uphold for my clients, and they're not going to accept. Hey, man, I gave you X amount of dollars to breed to your dog. Man, you telling me I can't use him because he's sick? It kind of it leaves a sour taste in your client's mouth, and that's one thing I don't want to do.
You know, the interesting part is too is like um the females never come in heat at the right time. Like you always got shit to do. So now, so they give you
Hmm.
they give you 2-3 day notice. Yeah, man, her numbers are at a 5 now. I'm gonna need that sperm in a couple of days. Be ready. And now you got to rearrange stuff that you already planned 2 days ago to
Well,
make this happen for them.
I think the worst thing about that is when they are inconsiderate. Like if you're giving me multiple updates every other day, I can finagle something. I can plan something. I can call a family member like, hey, you know I'm gonna be out of town. You think you can handle taking this big motherfucker up to the vet for me, right? But it's the ones that'll hit me up on a Monday and say, hey man, first side of blood, I'm gonna start testing this week. I say, okay, perfect. Keep me updated on the numbers. And then I don't never hear from him again. I hear
Yeah.
from him 3 weeks later. Hey, what's up, fam? I need it tomorrow. Brother, I'm in Tennessee right now. I ain't talked to you in 3 weeks. You didn't tell me you didn't keep me up to date with her progression. You
Right.
didn't tell me whether she was stalling or not. You just talked to me on a Monday 3 weeks ago, and now here we are on Wednesday. I need it tomorrow. Well,
Yeah.
brother, we gonna have to make some arrangements then. So I advise. I call it bitch owner etiquette. You know, keep me up to date because at the end of the day, I want you to be successful. You know what I'm saying? You spending your hard-earned money with me, I want to make sure you get the most out of your purchase. So let's make sure you get a good collection. Let me know early in the day. So I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna pull them right now for this client because I might have two clients I need tomorrow
Right.
because a lot of bitch owners don't know these dogs, especially these bigger ones, they're shooting out anywhere from 1 to 1.5 billion a collection.
Hmm.
That could get four bitches pregnant
Easily. Easily.
easily, but they don't understand it. They just think, oh, you splitting my collection, man. I'm gonna get less puppies. Listen, brother, if your bitch only drops 3 eggs, it don't matter if I give you 10 billion sperm cells. You only having three puppies.
That's right. You know, the interesting part about being because you're a stud service provider as well. The interesting part is that you have to give the people the our dogs will always have more testing than their
Hmm.
dogs. Our dogs will
Always.
always have more qualifications and verified information than their dog. And the one thing that I realize being a stud guy that I am is that um, nothing's guaranteed, nothing's promised. Now, the way I run things different with the stud fee and everything. I don't charge them the stud fee until they get the collection because I want to make sure like you pay me once your vet puts it under the microscope and say, okay, it's viable. Let's roll with it. Because I've shipped some by using other guys who prepare the semen and it gets there and it's fucking dead. And I just don't want to be doing all this refund shit. Or if I
Hey,
can ship out, you know what I'm saying?
let me tell
So
you something. Use a trustworthy brother, because I'm not leaving my house till it clears in my account.
yeah,
Because I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know how it is in the Doberman world, but here in the bully world, there's some shiesty people up in here.
well,
That's
see,
you know.
here's the difference when and you got AKC dogs with your Dobies. The motherfuckers can't register the litter without my approval.
Look,
So
so here's the thing. They can't do it without our approval either. But here's the thing. They'll get the puppies off of your dog. If they don't want to pay you, oh yeah, these off my stud. They
mm,
look like your dog, but they off my stud. And you can challenge them to DNA, but they ain't gonna force them because it's
yeah,
their litter. It has nothing
yeah,
to do with you on paper. It's their litter. So it's it's a different world, man. With the Dobermans. These dogs, like you said, they're judged on their acclimates, right? They're judged on, are they titled, not necessarily in the conformation ring, but can they work? Their workability.
Yes.
Are they fully health tested? Eyes, elbows, hips, cardiac, von Willebrand disease, DCM. It's a lot of extensive testing in your breed. So yeah, people want to breed to those specific dogs, but in the bully world, up until recently, it was the wild, wild west. People, look, if that motherfucker looked nice, ship it out. They was taking it.
Mm. What are the top notch bullies, pocket bullies going for? Like a really good one, like the one that checks all the box. What are the puppies going for?
Man, listen, let me tell you, it fluctuates. It fluctuates a lot, man. I've sold I've sold puppies for 5,000. I've sold puppies for 20,000. It just depends on the parents. It depends on what type of clientele you're reaching. It depends on really just the market. If when Trump was out there, he was giving away money. He was just giving that shit away. So my line was blowing up I didn't have enough puppies to satisfy the public. Now, it's kind of stabilized a little bit, and people are getting a lot smarter with their investments because a lot of them were sold dreams during the pandemic, which is why I kind of pride myself on not having that many litters during the pandemic and really selected my breedings with a fine tooth comb. You see, that's a grand champion right there, man. Grand champion, Brimson. I only want to put out the best, and I only want the best to represent my name. You get what I'm saying? And another Brimson right there in Canada. Another Brimson right there. It's just, if you go on my page, you'll see I primarily only post Brim and his kids. That is that's a female, believe it or not.
Damn, I love heavy females.
Mm-hmm.
Now that female right there is for a dog guy. That female is a breeding foundation female.
Absolutely.
Because people don't realize, and of course you do, but people don't realize, like, your kennel is looks, is temperament, is everything starts with the bitches. The male just accentuates the puppies. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's always asking, what the male look like? What the male look like? I said, what? You need to be more concerned about what the female looks like, how she
Absolutely.
is. She carries most of the mitochondrial DNA in these motherfuckers. You need to know what's going on with them. It's a kennel out there. You probably know of it if you've been following Dobies for a while. It was called Kimbertal.
I've heard of them. Yep.
Kimbertal in Pennsylvania for many years. Bob is rest his soul. He's dead and gone. But Bob used to have not only Dobies, he used to have wolves and Rottweilers. And Bob would only advertise the puppies. He would have two different classes of puppies. I think it was called Premium and Superior. Premium was $2,500. Superior was like $3,000. And he will only show pictures of the sire, who was typically a reject from Altobello kennels, because DeJohn, who owns Altobello, would send his oversized Dobermans over here because over there in Eastern Europe, they don't promote oversized dogs. An oversized dog, if he gets a ZTP, he has to be a maximum height requirement. He can't be 31 inches to the wither. That's disqualification, right? So Bob would buy all of his reject puppy titled grown male dogs, and all you will see is, I think one of his big ass dogs are called Iran, Emperor. And I was like, send me a picture of the female. And the female was all fucked up looking and shit, but they will only send the picture to of the female when you requested it. They will never have them on the website because people listen. Most Americans, when it comes to this dog game, if they're not really dog people and they're just novice, they are visual. They don't care about the temperament. They don't care about if the dog's skittish. They don't care about the white spot on the Doberman's chest. They don't care. They are like, I like the way he looks. Well, if I take about 100 photos of any of my dogs, one of them going to be the best photo that gives you a perception that he may be this and he's really not that, right? And I'm like, no, man, you got to know both parents. So now I'm a huge fan. Like right now, I got a puppy coming. His name is Gaius. I already named that motherfucker, right? I don't care what she put on the pedigree. My boy's name is Gaius, right? And he has the same father. And this is what makes this interesting because he has the same father as Titus, which is Axel. Axel's an IGP3 dog, health tested everything. I know the breeder, Christina. But the female is also stacked up with working titles as well. Typically, the female has a lot of show shit, right? And her parents have some working titles here and there, level 1 IGP, whatever. But this is the first time where I got a dog from her where both parents have advanced protection titles. Now, does that guarantee me anything? No. But does that increase my chances of this motherfucker making work? Yeah.
Absolutely.
The downside is that I can't get him until he's 6 months of age.
Oh, that was the killer for me, man. All my Dobermans I imported, that 6 month was killing me. But to your point, I think that's one of the things that is the downfall of a lot of American breeders is they are very visual first. And I feel like a lot of people from Europe have recognized this. Like, a lot of these people, they just want the biggest puppy. They don't care about, as you say in your YouTube videos, the intangibles. They don't care about the intangibles. They just want this big aloof dog who look like he gonna do something, but if you really step to him, he gonna run away and tuck tail. And to me, that's that. I don't want no Doberman that's gonna do that. I want a Doberman that's gonna be, I gotta tell him, hey, at ease, calm down, because that's what they were bred to do. They were bred to protect us,
That was what they were created for. Yeah, personal protection.
I think if I'm not go ahead, my fault.
Go ahead.
No, I think if I'm not mistaken, the Doberman is one of the only breeds that was bred to bite people.
Yeah, they were genetically bred to be a personal protection dog because Louis Frederick Doberman was a tax collector. And so in the 1800s, they used to go by your door and say, hey, it's time to pay your monthly taxes. Well, he was getting threatened by the people like, man, get the fuck out of here, right? So he said, let me create a breed that's not only intimidating looking, but also have the intangibles that he will die for a motherfucker. So that's where he may put the terrier in there, some Rottweiler, some Greyhound for the speed, etc. Because all purebreds really was created out of multiple breeds. Think about it.
And a lot of people don't understand that. They just think these dogs poofed out of thin air. Like you have to do a little bit of, what they say on the Powerpuff Girls, a little sugar, spice, and everything nice, a little bit of mixing to really get the look that you want, because wolves ain't just gonna mutate by themselves.
No. My man Max Tran, my favorite Doberman breeder. Thanks, Max. But yeah, man. My thing is that what have we come to now where that people are breeding strictly for the looks no matter what? Like I got one now where the lady hit me up saying, I want a nice dog. Is he gonna be good around my kids? I don't fucking know. It's like, yo, man, it's all about how you raise this dog. You can make a Chihuahua a killer if he's got it in him, right? So I can't tell you if this dog's going to be good for your family. I will say this. If you have any grass in your backyard and you got Adobe, you ain't going to have much grass.
Oh, man. Look, I done dealt with that. These the first dogs I've ever had that dug holes.
Yeah, and people don't realize that you know that Dobies, they don't run. I mean, they don't walk nowhere. They run everywhere. They trot or they run. They don't walk. They are running everywhere. They run to go take a shit. They run to go piss. You notice that? They run to a tree.
Absolutely.
They don't like, let me go there when I get there and cut. No, they run into that motherfucker like the tree about to leave.
They take it off every time.
Yeah. So this guy right here, let's take this question right here. It says, bring up some APB breeders next. Hey, give me some good ones, bro. You can't listen. These people be sending me guys. You should interview this guy. Well, I ain't interviewing a guy. He only got 50 followers, man, and like 4 photos. What am I gonna go off of?
I respect the American Pit Bull Terrier, man. I love that breed. I feel like a lot of bully breeders started their journey into dogs with American Pit Bull Terriers. But I think, and this kind of goes in line with what you said previously about people just looking for the looks. I feel like a lot of people are veering towards these smaller dogs like the pocket bullies, the exotic bullies, the Frenchies, because we're in a time frame in the world where home ownership is becoming very rare. And I think a lot of people are looking for rental friendly dogs. And some people with Doberman, they don't necessarily research how these dogs are, right? They just see a sleek black and tan dog with presence and they say, I want that motherfucker. Well, with that dog, it comes some caveats, and I had to get used to it myself. I'll say bullies are probably one of the easiest beginner dogs for a first-time dog owner because how I describe it is they're feed and relieve type of dogs, right?
Yeah.
They wake up, you let them out to go use the bathroom, they come in, they take a nap. They wake up, all right, I'm hungry. You feed them, they go outside, use the bathroom, come back in, take a nap. Feed them again, they go outside, take a nap, then they sleep for the night. They're very low maintenance dogs. And then when I got this Doberman, I got this dog that want to be all up under me all day. It's whining. It's
oh my God.
Yeah, it's just that that whine, that real high pitch.
Yeah, they listen. They whine just enough so that bark collar won't fucking kick in. They kind of figure this shit out.
And then you let them outside. You're like, all right, just go outside, run around, burn it off. You get lost watching your shows. You come outside, you got about 5 holes in your backyard because they get bored. They need stimulated, and they're very cool dog. That's one thing I like about being somebody who is into different breeds, right? I've dabbled in bullies. I'm now learning about the Doberman. Dabbled in mini chow chows, French bulldogs for a little bit, and they all have different needs. The real question is, what is an American bully? Too many variants to say they are low maintenance. Too many looks and sizes and levels of drive. Not necessarily, Jay. When you really see, people use the term bully as an umbrella term for a lot of different bully breeds. That's not what the American bully is. You have Old English bulldogs, you have American bulldogs, Johnson and Scotts, you have Dogo Argentinos, you got Bull Terriers, you got Staffordshire Terriers, Staffordshire Bull Terriers, American Pit Bull Terriers, and American Bullies. When it comes to American Bullies, there are not too many variations. You have XL, Standard. You can kind of blend Standard and Classic together. Classic is just, to me, a dog that lacks breed type, but that's a conversation for another day. And then you have pockets. It's just like the poodle. You have Standard, Giant, and Miniature, just like the Schnauzer, Miniature, Standard, and Giant. It's no different than those breeds. It's not necessarily too many variants. Do you have a lot of bloodlines, a lot of different niche looks? Absolutely, I'll say that. But yeah, these dogs are low maintenance. I haven't yet to run into a high maintenance bully.
You know what I notice about pit bulls and bullies, and I don't know too much about XL. Shout out, first of all, my guy over there at he had the dog named Hulk. Remember
man, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, Hulk. But what I noticed about pit bulls, man, my boy Leonard had one named Panthro, and just a bully game, period. More important like the pit bulls, but they got a long shelf life, man. Motherfuckers live 14, 15 years.
Dude.
I'm like, shit, I wish I can get Adobe past 10.
It's so funny you say that, because right now what we're going through in the bully community is these dogs. The simplest way I can put it to people is these dogs are like cars, right? When you start modifying them to do more extreme performances than what the factory intended, you lessen the shelf life, right? When you put 26-inch rims on your donk and you add some methanol in there, you shorten the engine and the transmission life. It's the same thing with these dogs. When you're making them bigger, shorter, their snout is more brachyphylactic, you're lessening the life of these dogs. And that's why I like my stuff extreme but clean. I like to keep it very moderate. By today's standards, some people will call Brim tall, and he's only 15 inches tall. They would say he's tall because you got people breeding 9 and 10-inch dogs. You know what I mean? And that's insane to me. But hey, more power to them. Shout out to them. But it just fascinates me because there are two sides of the bully world, right? You have your super clean, like, I want my dog to be this and walk 10 miles with me every morning and be able to read my favorite book with me. And then you got your people, hey, I just want that motherfucker to look good, chill with my kids. I ain't trying to take it for no walks, right? The argument is, oh, these dogs, they not making it. These dogs need to be living to 15, 16 years old like the pit bulls. Well, these aren't pit bulls. These are American bullies. You know what I mean? It's a different shelf life. And when you really truly look into it, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of purebred dogs, they all kind of come with their own unique issues. And that it's just funny because when
the interesting part is that I have that one special dog that I had that you can always, you're trying to duplicate, it will never happen. You get that one dog, maybe two dogs in your lifetime, like, man, that motherfucker he checked all the boxes, and you try to get a stud off of him. That stud ain't gonna be half of what his daddy is. He may look like him, but he ain't got the heart like him. Or he has the heart like him, but he ain't got the look like him. And it's always gonna be something from the dog that was your best dog that you cannot duplicate. I say that is people nowadays, they are breeding strictly for the aesthetics, and we know that. That's what sells, right? There's a kennel out there called Nightmare Kennels. They breed off of looks. But you know how I have issues with how that dog look with the web feet and shit, right? No shade. I'm just telling you, it's not my type of dog. But like right now, I'm trying to create a breeding foundation for stud service where if you don't like this particular temperament of this dog has that temperament. You don't like the color of that dog, this dog has that color. You don't like the head on this dog, well, I got a dog for this, right? So my thing is that, like, I know that none of my boys are perfect, right? I know that Cisco ain't the biggest dog, but he ain't the smallest dog. But I know that whoever I put him with, if she's a real hot bitch and my boy's hot, the people need to know that that's going to be a potentially hot litter for work. If she's a very mild-mannered female, but she wants to get some puppies that have some work abilities, I put them with Cisco. If you want a bigger, blockier head, possibly, then you could go with Titus. I try to like cater to whatever a person, and Titus has the red gene factor.
Titus is beautiful.
He could put out a red dog when he can. So my thing is that I'm trying to have something that other people can pick and choose, but these people, most of the people I breed to, they don't know what the fuck they want, man. They
don't.
No, they don't. And they try to get into the breeding game. Like, first of all, I'm gonna say this, people. This is a public service announcement, not a prostate exam, but a PSA. If you're breeding dogs and you're picking dogs just to make money, you're going to lose. You got to have a love for the breed first. The money will come, but the money will go as well.
Absolutely. Look, and that's where I think it separates a lot of the real from the fake is when you're in this business for an extended period of time, you understand there are highs and there are lows. There are ups and downs. There are times when your dogs are really selling and you can't make puppies fast enough. And there are also times when people are like, "Hey, man, I'm all right now.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to add a new family member right now, and you got to really calculate like, all right, do I really like these motherfuckers or am I just going through the motions? And a lot of people, I think COVID exposed a lot of people as, I don't really like these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
It's
interesting because, man, it's like when we're gonna take some questions, people. I get excited, man, when somebody hits me up about the Doberman. And when they want to breed, but breed because they love the breed first. And they come to me with some guidance or some questions, because I may not have all the answers and I may not be the guy to provide the stud for them, right? But I'm passionate about it. And I've seen a lot of people come and go where my twin brother said it best, man. And Greg is a Yogi Berra type quoting motherfucker. He got quotes for everything. And one of the quotes he always says to me, when people are starting out something, but they're starting out because the money is the motivating factor, they say, "Hey, Gerald, all the horses come out of the gate at the same pace. It's when you hit that last lap, you see who the real thoroughbreds are." Because notice all the horses come out of that thing neck and neck. When they start hitting that track and that motherfucker start whipping that horse, like, "Hey, man, keep going." Now you see who really wants this, right? So my thing is like, if I get a lot of looky-loos, I get a lot of calls, and people want to get into the breed, and then there are on the other side of the track, there are people who I helped start kennels 10, 12 years ago, and they still in the breed, and they're steadily trying to improve the breed. That's the key.
Most important thing.
That's the most important. You're trying to outbreed the defects. You're trying to breed the positive. And sometimes people, whether you know it or not, you got to do some line breeding here if you're trying to keep the good shit. Am I right?
Line breeding. I've never personally inbred on my yard, but I've done a fair share of line breeding. And you're right. Line breeding will bring out what you need.
And line breeding, if you're a good breeder, a great breeder, line breeds because he breeds for a specific trait. And usually breeding for the tangibles and the intangibles. A good breeder. Because, I've had some nice, big, strong bitches that I bred to, and they're scared of their shadow. That's a bitch I wouldn't keep in my kennel. See what I'm saying? So, there are people on one side, and I love the fact that I help out people, not just on the breeding aspect, but the business acumen of it. The business acumen, creating a logo, creating an image, getting your name out there. You may not be now you can make your own price on your puppies because now you have a name, you have a following, you have people who know what your merchandise is, right? But when you're first starting, you got to be motherfucking Groupon, nigga. You got to motherfucking like, yo, I ain't the most expensive, I ain't the cheapest, but I'm cheap. Because now you got to it's almost like Costco. You know how you got Costco in Indiana, right?
Yeah, Costco and Sam's Club.
Okay, so here's the thing. Don't go to Costco, people, on an empty stomach. Because I'm going to tell you, Those little end caps when they're giving you sample meatballs.
Oh shit!
You like, God damn, that's the best damn turkey meatball. You end up buying that. You end up buying this. You end up buying that. So what I'm saying is, people, you want to create a brand where people know that you got good health tested dogs. They're clear in the head. The grown dogs are, and you got a product out there. And with that, you got to create. Case in point, you see the Polo logo. You already know who the brand is. You already know who the owner is. Ralph Lauren, right? You see the Tommy Hilfiger logo, the Louis Vuitton logo. You don't even have to put name Louis Vuitton. You know the logo. So when people see your logo, they already know, oh, you want to get a good dog? My man right here. He ain't going to be the cheapest, but I promise you, you'll get what you ask for. You know, now there are other breeders out there that they start seeing you selling dogs 10, 15, 20. I can do the same. No, you can't. Nobody knows you.
See, I wish more people understood that you have to build the clientele. You have to build the clientele. You have to have the track record. You can't just sit up there and come out the gate swinging. I think one of the biggest misconceptions with the bully game was people thought because they bought a dog for $10,000 that now puts them in the same gene pool to sell dogs for $10,000.
Right.
No, you have to build up to that, man. And they were getting mad talking about, we have to set our market. Well, you can't. You can set your market, but if you only got 10 followers and they ain't that market, then you screwed. You got to work your way from the bottom up. And a lot of people don't want to put in that leg work. They don't want to make business cards. They don't want to hit shows. They don't want to go out and network, you know what I mean, and really talk about what separates them from the rest of the breeders, because like we both know, these breeders are a dime a dozen. They're everywhere now.
Yeah.
Like I remember I knew Frenchies wasn't for me. I went to get a Frenchie C-section one time, and there were, I think that's Saturday, because my vet only does reproductive on Saturday. There were 8 other Frenchie owners up there getting C-sections on the same day. And most of them just stay-at-home moms or hobby breeders. And they're like, yeah, this is my first litter ever, man. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I'm telling everybody 6,000, 7,000. I'm like, who is everybody? The people in the neighborhood? I'm like, and that's when I say, you know what? It's enough of them out there already. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna let y'all have that, man. That's not me.
Let me take some
That's not
questions.
my tempo.
Take some questions here. Corey, appreciate it, dog. Let me see, what's the other one? Bring up some. Okay, we talked about that. My man Max. Okay, here we go. I'm Meredith's son from RMD, Rocky Mountain, Doberman. It's damn near impossible to get a place to rent with Doberman. Hey, you're right.
It's the insurance.
Right, but if you got Adobe, you really should be having a yard or a homeowner. I'm just saying. Don't be renting.
You need a yard with these dogs. They like I said, it was a different experience getting my first Doberman coming from American Bullies, because they need to stretch, they need to run, they need to jump, they need to play.
Yep.
They need stimulation.
Appreciate it for the plug, Emmanuel. I'm gonna hit him up, see what's up with him. The difference of those breeds look alike. Okay, let me see what he was saying. What did Jay say? What can you read that?
He said an XL bully does not look like the pocket or the standard, but a poodle, giant, standard, and mini look the same. But I get what you're saying. Tit for tat. See, here's the thing. Purebred doesn't mean well-bred. If you're not in those breeds, you may only be seeing what they're showing at the Westminster. You're only seeing the cream of the crop. You're not seeing these other poodles that look like doodles or look like shit. You're not seeing them because it's not what they're showing. But that's the difference between the American Bully and, let's say, the poodle or the Schnauzer is they are defined and respected breeds, but they're not the poster child for their registry, whereas the
Right.
American Bully has skyrocketed to popularity. They're all over TikTok. They're all over Facebook. They're starting to put them in movies, right? The poodle is like a 90s dog. I don't hear nobody talking about poodles no more. You feel what I'm saying? For the longest time, Jared, I think you can attest to this. I didn't really hear people talking about Dobermans and Rottweilers for a long time, up until recent years. Same thing with the Borbal. They just shot up out of nowhere. But I think your boy
hold on, and Caney Corsos too.
Yeah, and who is your I'm gonna pronounce this wrong. La Fontaine?
La Fundacion, Presa Canaries.
Yeah.
Rich DeBerry.
If you would have told me they was in the FCC back in, what do you say, 2009? He said, I would have been like, you out your damn mind. I just heard about a Presa Canaria last year. Didn't even know what that dog was. I thought a Presa Canaria and a Cane Corso was the same damn thing.
Didn't I ask the question? I said, how do you tell the difference?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
And so and people who don't really study these dogs, they won't know. That's why for the longest time, the American Bully was fighting for its identity.
Yeah.
Because a lot of breeders were still using UKC, American Pit Bull Terrier paperwork. I feel like the American Bully should have been like what Fabian did with Remy. One dog, one look.
Who's Remy?
I'm gonna tell you. Remy is a old school. He's probably one of the founding dogs of the American Bully. Remy was a nice dog. He was a little hot, and in the American
was he game?
He wasn't game, but he'd bite something. Yeah. But in the American Bully world, that's frowned upon because these dogs already have a negative stigma deriving from the American Pit Bull Terrier, that they're vicious, they're aggressive. And so that was supposed to be bred out with the American Bully. These dogs are couch potatoes. They're supposed to be good with kids, good with families. Yeah. So with Remy being a hot dog, that was frowned upon. Now, he is a legend, though. He's in a lot of dogs' pedigrees. So, shout out to Fabian, shout out to Remy.
They banned it in the UK. They banned it to XL bullies.
Yep. A lot of them had to be put down. A lot of them got shipped over here to the United States. A lot of the UK breeders got kennel partners in America. They shipped all the XLs over here.
Hardhead Rio. Yeah, the puppies dropped, man. You got to get with Lotta Bell Kennels, LOTTA, Bell, BELLE, and get with her. The puppies dropped. We don't know which puppies. We did a dual breeding, people. This is my first time doing it. I think you know about it, Ashton. We did a dual breeding, and the way you figure out who puppy is what sire is that they have to order DNA test kits for the litter. So the DNA test, since Cisco and Casanova, rest in peace, Casanova, since their DNA is registered on AKC's website in their database, they have to be. Right, because when you import, you have to do, if you want to register, if you want to be able to get your dog where he can sire a litter through AKC, they're going to have to order test kits, DNA test kits to test each puppy with a swab, and then that puppy DNA will go back and say, okay, the red boy has Casanova, the blue collar boy is Cisco. So yeah, the puppies dropped. They're about 3 weeks old. Well, your boy Mueller J, he must be one of your followers too. He's on it, man. So have you seen those giant Dobermans with Great Dane features, super tight, boned up, very square muzzle? Not sure how they perform, but interesting look. Well, I can speak on that. I haven't seen, if you're talking about King Dobermans, that's bullshit myth. But yeah, I would say 30, 40 years ago, they probably mixed some Great Dane in with the Doberman, and then people put papers on those dogs. But if you're talking about oversized dogs like Hunter and them dogs can't move. I mean, listen, you'll never see an oversized Doberman do any sport work. And trust me, 9 times out of 10, they don't live past 7 years. So go ahead with the look so you can put them on Instagram and walk across the street slow motion and looks all cute and all. But the dogs are going to be riddled with health issues because they're not genetically designed to be an extra large dog.
You know, after doing when I first got into the breed, I wanted a bigger Doberman. You know, coming from bullies, I thought bigger head, bigger bone, that's what I need. But then when you really research and you look at the workability of these dogs,
Can't.
and then when you actually see them in motion, I think that was one of the most beautiful things, seeing the two that I imported, seeing them move and run, seeing how alert and attentive they were. And I took my female to do a little bit of prey drive work down there in Indianapolis. I gotta remember that guy's name. He's a retired police officer. He trains German Shepherds for the Indiana State Police. Um, I had him work with my female, and he loved her. She had that want, and that's what had me looking at Cannon. You know, because I'm like, man, I need a male like that. I got a female like that. I need a male like that. You know, but with great power comes great responsibility. We all know that.
Yeah, I would say my wife. I've had, of course, you're a breeder. You know, you're a stud guy too. You go through a lot of dogs, and a lot of them, they may be cute when they're young, but when they start developing these certain traits, you're like, I don't want that shit, and I have to get rid of the dog or displace them. And my wife be tripping like, oh, you're getting rid of them. I shouldn't get attached. Well, you should get attached, but understand that these dogs have to have a purpose in our family. And a lot of times, man, it's like if the dog is not, first of all, my two first Dobies, Alonzo and Brody, has set a standard. Anything below that, I don't give a shit if I paid 6,000 euros. I get that son of a bitch away for free because I know that the longer I keep him, the more I'm going to dislike what he has to offer me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's like having a child by a woman and you don't even want to see her, but you want to see the child. It's like every time you see the child, you got to see her. Like, goddamn, can I just have one without the other?
See,
And so
I've explained to my fiance a couple times. You know, you have to get in your head that all dogs don't stay. Right? You have what you call your lifers. Right now, I have two lifers. That's Brim and Booby. They are the only dogs that are guaranteed to die in this house. But all other dogs, they have to prove their worth. And that's part of being a breeder, right? If we kept every single dog that we bought or we produced, we would be a puppy mill. You know what I mean? We'd be a puppy mill, we'd be a shelter because we have to only keep the best of the best. And
yep.
sometimes that requires, hey man, you know what? You a beautiful dog, but you don't have what it takes to be in my yard. Let me, as my responsibility, because I either produced you and brought you here, or I purchased you and brought you here. Let me find you a home that's better suited for you. And that's how you do right by the dog.
Mm-hmm. There's only a few dogs. I got a couple of lifers too. I love that. Cisco and of course Titus is a lifer. But I had Cannon for a minute, and I only had Cannon because I was so saddened and heartstrucken when Casanova abruptly passed away. I said, this is probably one of his best offsprings or his last offsprings that I can really do some work with. But I kind of had to chill back and say, you know what? This dog has a better purpose with somebody else. And he was really getting that work in with Sykes. I mean, really getting that work in because Sykes, like this guy right here who's chiming in, Oaktown, One Love 3, he was like, Sykes build protection dogs. I love protection dogs, but my dogs have to have more than one speed. They got to be able to slow down.
Turn it off.
And turn it back on. And I'm not saying Cannon can't do that, but I need to, I was picking that dog off of emotion that day versus what's best quality for me, right? Oaktown says, I'm an active young man and was thinking about getting a Dutch Shepherd or a Dogo as a family protection dog. Can you guys talk to me about your experience? I ain't got no experience with two dogs.
I ain't got no experience with them.
I know they're hell of a dogs, but
he might want to talk to Sykes about the Dutch Shepherd.
Talk to Sykes about Dutch Shepherd and talk to my guy, forgot his name, Corey. with the dogos, because that's what he does. He hunt wild boars with his dogs out there in Arkansas. What is it right here? What is it? Derek Miller. Nope, they rather buy breeds and sell that it. I'll try to put that two together. Fluffy, this is Fluffy that too.
That's that Frenchy stuff. I ain't got nothing to do with them fluffies. I don't know nothing about them fluffies.
Seen Remy twice. He's a really, really nice and hot. I got to do my research on this Remy guy, this Remy dog.
Remy was a nice dog, but he was hot. American Bully hits the sweet spot for humans. It's like chocolate fast cars are pretty women. I'll agree, man. I'm telling you, the American Bully is a great breed for a first-time, inexperienced dog owner because they are, to me, having had hundreds of them in my hands and my possession, they are very low maintenance. They are very chill in comparison to other dogs. They don't have a lot of serious needs that will inconvenience you. That's how I see it.
Robert Capelli. Well, he wrote a thesis on this motherfucker right here. It said before Facebook, people had to work harder to build a client base. Facts. The Doe de Bordeaux. I think that's the same dog that was turning hooch with Tom Hanks was in. Cane Corsos and Impressors were all popular. You just needed to go the rare breed shows and pick a Dog World magazine. The Cherry Blossom is where you could see all of the dogs and how dog breeders would build out their clients. In the 90s, you could wait 2 years to get a Cane Corso, Dogo de Bordeaux, or Impressa. That's a good point. Let me tell you what I'm doing now. Not only have I been going to dog shows, I've been going to I'm going to a bully dog show out here in May, right? My guy Earl's going to be going to Earl's at sumo bullies, and I go to Boreable Mastiff shows, and I'm going to Presa Canera shows. Here's the deal. I'm a Dobie guy first, right? I'm taking my ass to Croatia in September to get the IDC International Doberman show. My connection of Mike and over there, they take care of me. I've been getting all my dogs for 16 years from Mike and them resources, right? But if you really want to learn the breed and really be dialed into what you're looking for, because when I first got into the Dobie game, I was seeing, but I wasn't looking. I was seeing what I like, but didn't know what I was looking for. I like the look, the size, but I had a dog that had no drive. Until I saw another guy's dog, Dr. Bill Reliford's dog, had a dog named Musa. This motherfucker was powerful. When he saw that wooden dumbbell, he was acting a fool for that dumbbell. He was running up and down the field with that parachute on. He was biting in the crouch. He was pocket biting, leg biting. He was outing when you tell him to, and he was still right there ready to work. So and my boy that I had got from a guy named Bickerstaff wasn't doing none of that shit. It's like, what is this? So I didn't know. So people, if you want to improve your kennels or you're thinking about being a breeder, go to the shows. See the different types of dogs. Like case in point, I got one Rottweiler. I started noticing some of these Rotties have these smashed in faces. Come to find out, that's a breeder who started that genetic defect. It was called Timitar.
I knew it.
Timitar. Now, all of a sudden, Timitar, that look started looking good. But if you notice, a lot of the Timitar dogs are not in no protection sport because they can't bite good because of the underbite. It's the jaw, the jaw going like this versus the jaw going like this. So you can't really grip good with that Timitar crazy ass look. So, yeah, man. So
he said Timitar crazy ass look.
You really can't. I mean, they cute when they're puppies, but when they get older, they're like they have Down syndrome or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think there was just a poster. They had like a Timitar dog as the face of a show, and then the breed club in that country came out and said, "No, we don't support this."
Yeah, take that down. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Somebody created a poster, and they said, "No, that is not the breed standard. take that shit down.
And
I
see,
saw that.
that's what a lot of breeds need is they need policing within the club. That's what will help create a uniform look.
What does Jay Mueller say? I'm a survival situation. Or choosing a Doberman, like if the world shuts down and you had to pick a dog that can hold you down, possibly hunt. If the Dobie's your choice, is that a question?
I think he's saying. I think he meant to say in a survival situation, are you choosing a Doberman? If the world was to shut down and you had to pick a dog that can hold you down and possibly hunt, is the Doberman your choice?
I'm choosing a Doberman only because, well, I'm torn. I'm choosing. Come on now, because we may be breeders of a certain breed, but that don't mean we don't love other breeds, right? I'm torn, but I had to go with a Rottweiler and a Doberman. I had to get to him because Rottweiler, I know he'll kill a motherfucker because the bite pressure, right?
I'd probably do a Rottweiler and a Boer, but man, them Boer was just too damn big.
I know.
Big, man.
I do a Rottweiler to kill the game, but I do a Doberman to catch the game. How's that? You do that? Okay.
I like that.
What's this right here? Robert Capella. Cattle breeders don't name cows because they know that those cows will move on once they feel the need. So yeah, let's say dog 1, dog 2. Because
he ain't lying.
Yeah.
I don't give dogs names till they about a year old. I don't even register their paperwork till they're about a year old.
What's this right here? What's your guys' opinion about the Dutch Shepherd? I'll go first on that one. The Dutch Shepherd and the Malinois are the dogs that are dirty, grimy, will put in that work for the most part. That's not exciting to me. Listen, when I go to all these protection IGP shows or those ring sport shows, they're riddled with Malinois and Dutches because that's what they do. They can do that, right? I get that. When you go to the police dogs, Malinois and Dutches. But when a Doberman step on that field or a Rottweiler step on that field, ain't nobody going to get no popcorn. Nobody's going to the restroom. They want to see that motherfucker work because it's different. That's my thing. I mean, that's like I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, right? So in our school education, in our public school education, we had this thing called the CBOC, CBOCK, I think. Basically, the teachers would give us all the answers to the fucking test. We study the answers and the material, and you got to choose A, B, C, or D, right? Well, you give us the answers to study. So it's like you can't fail. No kid left behind type shit. With the Dutchess and Malinois, it's the same concept. Well, you know the Dutch is going to jump over a 10-foot wall. You know the Malinois is going to go crazy for the. You know the Malinois is going to go over A-frame wall, and you know the Malinois is going to jump in the. I don't lose no sleep over that one. I'm flipping the channel because I see it all the time. Case in point, when I see a white boy dunk that's under 6 feet, I'm watching.
You funny, bro.
But when I see a brother dunk, it's like, motherfucker, you've been trying to dunk since you was 10. This is nothing new here. I'm just calling it what it is.
That comparison you just gave, I could even relate that back to cars, right? To Porsche. I'm a big Porsche fan. You have the Porsche Turbo S, right? All-wheel drive, creature comforts, lots of torque. I think they come in with 640 horsepower these days. Then you got the GT3, right? Only 565 horsepower, something like that. Something along those lines. Rear-wheel drive, not as fast, right? But so much more dramatic. That's the difference that a lot of Porsche enthusiasts have between the GT3 and the Turbo S. They say the Turbo S is faster, but it's almost too refined. It's boring. You know it's going to get 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds. You know it's going to take you there. But it's like, all right, I'm there. But then you got the GT3. It's more emotional. It's more of a visceral experience. That you connect to the car more. Sure, it's going to take you longer to get there, but you're going to enjoy the ride, and it's different. It's dramatic. Like, to your point, when you see a Dutch or a Malinois doing protection sports, bite work, whatever, it's you know they're going to do it.
Yeah.
But then when you see a Doberman, a Rottweiler, hell, I watched one of the videos. I forgot that brother's name, but he trains dog. He had a Frenchie out there biting the sleeve. That's gonna make you go, hold on, what? You got a Frenchie biting the sleeve? That's the beauty of watching a Doberman or a Rottweiler excel in protection sports and bite work.
You know what? I'm a car guy. You know, I got a little mini series called Cars and Canines, right?
I seen you GNX.
Yeah. So here's the deal. So speaking of Porsches, my favorite Porsche is a Porsche 911 that was on a movie called Risky Business with Tom Cruise when he was a kid.
I think that's a Turbo S. I think.
Dude, that shit the best.
I gotta figure it out.
Yeah, Tom Cruise Porsche. Google that shit right now. The Porsche that was on Risky Business. Yeah. What did it say?
Figure it out right now. Porsche 911 Risky Business.
Was it a 911?
It was a Porsche 928, and it just sold for 1.9 million.
God damn! What the motherfucker said? There is no substitute. Porsche.
Hey, look, people don't understand. Porsche ruins cars for you, man. It does, and they're not the fastest. They are not the most exotic looking with the body lines, but they handle like no. I've never felt confident going full speed at a turn until I got in a Porsche. Music blaring, a roundabout come up, I'm my foot on the gas. I'm just turning the wheel.
You know, there's a Porsche track out here near my house where you can test all the different type of Porsches they have.
They got one in Atlanta, the Porsche Experience Center.
Yes, that's what it's called. So I love cars, man. You know, actually, as a matter of fact, people, when we were young boys, we loved cars and dogs before we even liked girls, believe it or not. So speaking of cars, so I love it. This is how I relate to dogs and cars. When people see my black car, oh, that's a nice Monte Carlo. It's almost like people say, that's a nice Dutch Shepherd. That's a nice Malinois. All of them are nice. I said, no. This is not a Monte Carlo. This is a Buick Grand National. I said, this has a V6. Monte Carlo has a V8. Oh, I bet that Monte Carlo. No, bruh. Obviously, you don't know what intercooled mean. You don't know what turbo. You don't know what torque mean. I said, this Buick in the 80s was the fastest car in a quarter. Just a quarter. And it's a two-door coupe. It's not a sports car. And it do eat up some Porsches, but only over a quarter of a mile. After that, Porsche's doing 150, 170, 180. The Buicks ain't doing that. But I see the point where when I drive this now, only because of Kendrick Lamar. When I drive this now they know what the fuck this is.
Now,
right?
It's so funny you related to that because I can almost describe my journey in the cars as it was into the Doberman, right? Because when I first got into the Doberman, I wanted a big bad black Doberman. I wanted dark tan points, big old head, big old woolly mammoth feet, and that's kind of how it was when I got into cars. My first fast car was a Hellcat. All I seen was 810 horsepower, and I'm like, man, I need that motherfucker. Whole time it's slow as shit. Hellcats are slow. I don't care what nobody tell you, they slow. And as I started progressing into the dogs and progressing into the cars, I'm like, damn, refined is a little bit better. My last, I want to say 5 cars have all been V6s. I don't want no damn V8. I'm cool on a V8. Same thing with these Doberman. I'm looking for the workability. I'm looking for the intangibles. I'm looking for a dog that has what it means to be a Doberman, because the looks is only half the battle.
Yes. That is so true, man. And I wish people out there, like What's funny, man, is like people when they get dogs from me or from other breeders that with some working ability, they don't usually they're not even working the dogs, and they say, "Well, I don't want to turn them on and can't turn it off." Listen, protection training is really obedience training. You are exposing your dog to understand when to turn it on and when to turn it off. Because I'm gonna tell you, the dogs will get away from you, but will they listen to you when they get away, when they get out of that yard, when they run through your leg, when you're cleaning the kennel out? Will they turn around and come back to daddy? That's going to be the key. What's the Pinnacle Bully Kennel said, marketing has been the hardest thing to do, but most rewarding at the same time, i.e. shows, social media, being outside the network. That is so true. And again, create a brand, have a logo, sell, have a shirt, promote your shit, because nobody going to promote it better than you. Nobody going to promote your kennel for you. So
look,
let me see.
I got a cars and coffee event I'm going to next weekend. Them Dobermans are going to be there with me.
Yeah.
They gonna be there with me.
And people will ask, "Wait, oh, how can I get?" And all they go take a picture. All it takes is 1 or 2 clients. Think about the ratio. A couple of hundred people there. Let's say 1% of 200. 10% of 200 is 20, right? So just say 5% of that. Somebody gonna be a client. Somebody gonna tell somebody. Somebody gonna see you got nice looking dogs. Somebody gonna follow you on IG. Somebody. Because I am. Repeat after me. I am. Somebody.
Somebody.
Let me see right here. Gerald, find Remy. Okay, I already wrote his name down. Low Jack Remy Martin.
Remy's a good looking dog, man. Like I said,
Is he still around?
I think Remy passed away, but he was a dog. I think he made it to double digits before he passed, if I'm not mistaken.
This is the last one. Mueller J. Have you seen Bouvier's and giant black Russian schnauzers? I've seen black Russian schnauzers work. If you go to my guy Garrison, he's got the black Russian schnauzers, and they work because he don't breed nothing but working Russian schnauzers. So check him out. Just Google black Russian. Just Google working black Russian schnauzers, and Garrison would pop up out there in South Carolina. I want to say, man, Ashton, this is the first time where I've did an interview where it lasted an hour, over an hour, because usually I do 59 minutes, right? And then we off. But I want to say, hey, man, if people want to follow my man right here, check him out. You know, he's doing big things over there. He's breeding for a purpose, and he's breeding quality dogs. Go to Facebook at 30 Bound Kennels Facebook page. It's not a dummy page. It's a smart page, right? And then his Instagram right there at 30B Kennels. Anything you want to say before we check out here?
Man, all I got to say is thank you for having me. You know, I've been in your inbox for months, receiving and soaking up knowledge of the Doberman. I appreciate you for having me, and I hope that any question that the fans had, that I was able to answer it in a adequate manner.
Good. And people, like I always say, be resilient, but be responsible. Until next time.